Hi, I'm Alison and welcome to the Repair Studio. And so today I thought I would show you how to take glue off pottery. Now I have my latest commission here, which is rather exciting, which I thought I would show you. And it's from a client who is obsessed, who loves her dogs. And she has a couple of Staffordshire figures here, which have been badly broken and put back together with glue, which I can tell is super glue because it's gone yellow, and it does also have some missing parts, and there's a pair. They're a pair of Staffordshire figures. So can you see they're sort of, his head has been glued on very badly, and the glue here is turned, I don't know if you can see there, that it's all got dark, and yeah, there's missing on his leg, that's been broken, I can tell. So he needs a little bit of restoration, and he's actually come off slightly better off than this one, who is missing part of his leg. And here we are, so you can see on him the glue has gone yellow and discoloured, and it's been put on very badly. So he's been broken in a couple of, actually that's the gold chain of him, but here he's been broken very badly, put on not very well. So what we're going to do is, with him, we're going to place these both in hot water, and we're going to take off the glue and keep the pieces, get them dry, and in my next video I think I will then glue them back together, and then on the following video we will Milliput any bits which are missing. And although we have some part of a leg here, he's missing quite a lot, so we're going to have to make a new leg with Milliput, I think. So I will show you that. Again, I can see some old glue here. Now super glue tends to go yellow after a time, so I'm presuming it's super glue on there. So let's break them apart, and yeah, and let's go for it. But before I do, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe, please like, and please share. Right, so I do have a bowl of water here, very hot water. You can see the steam. And the thing to do is to put it into some hot water, and that will hopefully break the glue up. Now, you do have to be careful if you do have any pottery or any porcelain with any gilding on. You don't want to be scrubbing away, and you don't want to lose any of the gilding, and you don't want to put anything in which is going to sort of take off the gluing, anything too harsh. So if I place him in head first into the glue, into the hot water, I can see it's bubbling up already inside. Can't tell from here unfortunately, but there's a lot of air in there where it hasn't been glued in place properly. And what I'll do, hopefully there's enough space for another one. So although actually I can see he's been broken here, you can see there's a little broken piece here. I don't think it's actually come off completely, so I might be able to just fix that chip. Well, actually he may be, we'll see. Anyway, so this part of the head here has come off again, put on very badly into there. Again, I can see, let me show you if you can see the bubbles. You might be able to see some bubbles, just, I don't know if you can tell from there, but there's definitely air in there. So when you see bubbles, when it's very boiling hot water and you put something in and it's bubbles coming up, that means there's air in there. So actually, in a good way for us, because yes, it's been repaired, but it's been repaired quite badly, and so there hasn't been a complete lock. So obviously there's some little channels in there for the hot water to get into, so that will soften the glue and hopefully it'll be easier to pull apart. Fingers crossed. I do have this other little piece in here, so again he's got a bit of glue on there. As you can see, it's all yellow. So I'm just going to drop that in as well, very carefully, so we don't want to make any more work for ourselves. Now I am just using very hot water here, boiling hot water from the kettle. You can keep topping and filling up. Now glue can be quite stubborn sometimes. Sometimes it comes off straight away, and other times it can be a nightmare. You just got to keep, and it depends on the glue and how tight the fits was in the first place. When doing this, obviously you don't want to be putting your hands in very hot water, so I have a couple of gloves. So hopefully that glue is starting to soften now and it's going to get a bit easier. So I put my gloves on. I have put it onto, I'm at my desk area here, so I do actually have a sheet on my table to protect it, because you don't want any water going anywhere and bits and pieces. Now when taking off glue, and to actually help with cleaning it, you could use a couple of implements. It's quite a sharp little implement here, and there's another one which is my razor. Quite, I don't like to use it too often, and to be honest, because it's pottery, it's quite porous, so you don't want to be chipping away too much at it. So really with minimal damage when we're taking off the glue and taking the pieces apart. Because they're I don't know if they're identical, I think they're probably sisters rather than twins. You don't want to mix the pieces up as well, so try to put them into separate areas. I also do have a couple of pieces of paper here, some sheets of rolls, and just so we can dry it off afterwards. And I'll probably put one on each so I don't get confused who is who. Right, so let's have a look to see how that's coming on. Now, is it going to, oh, can you see how easy that was to break off? Quite satisfying. And it's because, as I say, there wasn't much glue on there in the first place. So can you see? So I'm going to do this one first. I don't want to put it back in and start losing bits. So with that, let's move that on there. I can just see there's hardly any glue on there at all. Just a little bit here on the sides, hardly any. I just want to take off any surplus bits of glue. It's mainly on the edges here, can you see? Now, since the glue is it's actually opened up, I can see this glue. I think what I will probably do once I've taken the glue off is I might just dip it into some more warm water with something like a slight bleaching agent, usually Biotex or something similar. Not for very long, but just to bleach this, because this is quite yellow and you want to take those stains out. But if we can just get rid of some of the glue there and say just bits like that, all the glue has to come off. It's quite useful because it's been in hot water, it's very soft, so it's very easy to come off. And if it starts to harden, if you've taken your time, just submerge it in warm water again. The hotter the better. Boiling water is great, as long as you're wearing gloves and you're keeping yourself safe. I can see here it's starting, and you can see chipping away. Now it's starting to harden, so I'm going to put it back in very carefully, because now it's broken, and then I can get onto the head. Just put it on for a second. Now there's not much glue on there actually. I don't think there was much glue on here at all, so no wonder why I could see bubbles coming through. I'll put it back on. Actually, I think I will. Let's have a look at the next piece. Let's see if he is going to come off. Now he's got a couple of shards as well. You can see it's quite satisfying actually. You can see it's just pulling apart, and I can see it's in a few sections. And that's just it's got a little bit there. That's coming away. You see that glue's really softened. Really large parts, and then we've got another piece here which needs to go back in. So while that's in, I'll just take off these bits here. When taking glue off with blades, to be very careful. You can just use a toothbrush, but you probably would be there for a very long time. You know, you are going to chip a little bit off. Try to minimise what you are chipping off. Try not to chip any off if you can. That's why if the glue is soft, it should come off quite easy. The one thing I would say when you are taking glue off pottery, for instance, like these Staffordshire dogs, is because it's more porous, it is definitely harder to take off than, say, if it was porcelain. Because porcelain is, you know, it's not so porous, it sort of clings all together, and when you do take the glue off, it does tend to come off in one lump, which is rather easy, whereas pottery takes a little bit more time. It does tend to go off into little stages, so it's a little bit more time consuming, but it's worth it. Now that's starting to get there, and again just take off, you can see the difference. So that's the new part where I've taken this glue, that's all in half now, that glue was on there, so you can see the colour, and then you can see where it needs to be finished off there. I'll put that into warm water, let's try some more. And what I would do is I would just keep going through bit by bit, taking it out of the water, and then just keep going through. Now another thing you can do once all the glue's off, and if it's quite yellow here, is you could actually put on a dab of hydrogen peroxide cream, not the liquid, but the cream, preferably 20, even 40 volume peroxide, which is even stronger. Again, make sure you're wearing a mask and you have, you know, suitable gloves and things on, and you know you're protected. And if you could, you know, and I would probably do this on probably more on pottery than I would on porcelain, as I say, because it seems to keep the colour in, and we want to take that colour out before we re-glue it back together again. So I won't demonstrate at the moment because unfortunately these are still in there, and you know we're taking the glue off. But once I've taken the glue off all of these, I will then probably just get a Q-tip. I don't know if I've got one here. Usually I do, but I don't. But anyway, I would take a very small Q-tip and just submerge it into the peroxide cream, and then just very carefully, for instance, where it's on here, where it's discoloured, I would then just apply the peroxide on this part here. Then I would very carefully wrap it up in some cling film, or even put it all into a plastic bag so the bag or the cling film isn't touching, and I would just put it away for 24 hours. And then 24 hours later I will rinse this off, and it'll be nice and white, ready for gluing. One word of warning, don't put any peroxide on any gilding. This is fine, it's all painted, it's all glazed, but I wouldn't put it on, for instance, on the collar of the dog where there's gilding. So you want to avoid all of that. You just want to put it on the bits where it's missing and where it needs taking some of the discoloured, you know, glue off. The glue should be off by that point, but sometimes it just does leave a mark, or a dirty mark where it hasn't been glued properly and dirt's got into it. So yes, I would then put on peroxide. So it's coming together now. I'm going to see there's a bit more coming off. Now we had a little foot here somewhere. And you see there's a little bit of glue on there. So let's see if I can move him across a bit more. See if we can take a little bit more off. If you have a magnifying glass, it's even better because these things are quite small. Now this is starting to come off in quite a little lump here. I don't know if you can see. It's just starting to come off. And sometimes you can actually use your fingernails, if you have any, You can see it's just peeling off and revealing white. There we go. It's a little bit more on there, but there's not much left, so we can quite easily take the rest of the glue off with that, like so. There we go. That's one foot done, and I think the other side didn't have glue on it. Now that looks pretty clean now. So once I'm satisfied it's all clean and there's no colour, no glue, I would then put it onto one piece of the kitchen roll. As I've said before, I have 2 items, so I want to keep them separate. I don't want to mix them up. So this will go for the one with the missing leg. So I just put it on some kitchen roll just to make sure it's completely dry thoroughly before I paint. Now let's have a look. One last, see how it's coming on. A little bit more there. Not much to do on him. Now if the water gets too cold, because the hotter it is, the easier it is to get the glue off. If it's too cold, it won't soften the glue as much. So maybe take the water out and start again, put some fresh boiling water in, just to get it nice and softened. See a few bits there. Yeah, just take him out there. You can do it in good daylight as well, so you can actually see. So it's quite tricky, this. As I say, taking glue off pottery I think is trickier than actually taking it off porcelain. Right, so put that onto there, onto there. Right, maybe a little bit more. Right, this is going to take me a little time to do, and I'm probably going to put in some more water. As you can see, it's starting to cool down now. So, and I've still got a little bit of work to do. Not too much, but as you can see, there it's still stuck together. And now the water is cooled, it's hard to come off, so I need some more boiling water. But the head isn't looking too bad. As I say, I need to take the rest off and then maybe put some peroxide on. And let's just check the other head. Again, this is, I think most of the glue's off, but it's just over time a different colour. As you can see, you can compare the colours. So I'll put peroxide on the ends of that, and then once the peroxide's on after 24 hours and I've put it into a bag, again, which I did forget to mention, make sure you wash it off thoroughly after. So once the peroxide's on and it's nice and white, or as white as clean as it could be, I will scrub it with I will use a toothbrush to really clean and get into those little crevices, clean it thoroughly, and then let it dry completely. And then after that, it's all ready for gluing. So I'm going to put these back in for the moment, and I'm going to fill up some more water, boiling water, and just to finish these little pieces off. Oh, let's not forget that one. There's no, I think, yep, actually I will put them back in because there's a tiny bit of glue left. So I will then finish off this, ready for the next video. Now in my next video, what I'm going to be doing is they will be all cleaned. I would have put the peroxide on, I would have taken it off, all the glue will be off, they'll be in pieces, and I will then show you how to glue them on properly. And you could say multiple breaks, because 2 or 3, I think one of the dogs has 2 or 3 pieces, and we'll get it all glued on all properly, and then again a following video after that we will then put Milliput on. And I think, I'm not sure, I probably will spray them with the airbrush at the end on another video. So again, you know, I do have playlists. If you want to see anything else about breaking glue and painting and Milliput, please look at my playlists. I've got a few of them. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed before. Please share and please like. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, I'm going to finish this off now. Bye. So